I'll try not to drag this out too long, but here's some context. I'm a 22-year-old woman, and I've got an older brother who's 26. He married his girlfriend about 6 months ago after dating her for 2 years. The truth is, he and I don't get along at all. We've basically been on bad terms ever since high school, when he spread this nasty rumor that I was a kleptomaniac and that people should watch their stuff around me. The only reason he did that was because I had told his girlfriend at the time that he'd been flirting with another girl. Back then, he was a total player, the kind of guy who thought juggling multiple girls made him look cool. I figured his girlfriend deserved to know the truth, so I told her. She confronted him right in the cafeteria, and it turned into this huge scene where she completely embarrassed him in front of all his buddies. Once he found out I was the one who ratted him out, he decided to get revenge by making up that rumor. Of course, everyone believed him. He was 18, a senior, and a varsity football player, while I was just a 14-year-old freshman with braces. That rumor made the next few years of my life miserable. I was already awkward and not exactly considered attractive, so having that label on top of everything else just crushed me. I got bullied nonstop until graduation. Nobody wanted to go to prom or homecoming with me, and I missed out on all the big events. I had a couple of friends, but only because they were bullied too, so we basically stuck together out of survival. What stings the most is that I hadn't even volunteered that information to his girlfriend in the first place. She cornered me after school one day and demanded to know if my brother was messing around with another girl. She was older, bigger, and intimidating, so I just blurted out the truth. I didn't want to lie, and I thought she deserved honesty. If I had known it would completely backfire, I probably would have just kept my mouth shut. After that, I basically stopped talking to my brother. We still lived in the same house, but I avoided him as much as I could. He went off to college a few months later, and when he came home for the holidays, I'd go out of my way to steer clear of him. I wouldn't say I went fully no contact, because our parents always expected us to play nice when family was around, but outside of that, I kept my distance. When he got married, I honestly had no intention of going. But my mom insisted that it would look bad if I didn't show up, and my parents really care about appearances. So, I agreed, and looking back, I'm glad I did, because it's how I found out about something I never could have imagined, my sister-in-law's affair. Her name's Chloe, I'm changing it for this story, and she's 28. She'd been with my brother for 2 years before they tied the knot. She never treated me kindly whenever we crossed paths at family holidays. She always came off as stuck-up, but since she was dating my brother, I didn't bother trying to like her either. The dislike was mutual. On the day of their wedding, about half an hour after the ceremony ended, I finished my lunch and decided to head out. Chloe had told everyone she was going back to the hotel to change into something more comfortable before joining the reception, so she'd been gone about 10 minutes when I left. On my way to the parking lot, though, I spotted her making out with one of my brother's friends, Marcus, in a secluded corner. The problem was that my car was parked just a few spots away, so I had a front row seat to it. I froze, completely stunned. Chloe saw me almost instantly and jerked away from Marcus. She shoved him off and told him to leave, which he did in a hurry. Then she walked right up to me. I didn't say a word while she gave me her little speech about how my brother was a great guy who would always take care of her, but her heart belonged to Marcus. Basically, she was marrying my brother for stability and money, but Marcus was the one she truly wanted. Hearing that disgusted me. I've always hated gold diggers, and that's exactly what she was. Then, to make things worse, she asked me to keep it quiet and said she'd give me whatever I wanted in return. That's when something clicked in my head. Normally, I would have gone straight to the person being cheated on, but this was my brother. And if there's one thing he taught me back in high school, it was that sometimes keeping your mouth shut is the smarter move. So I told Chloe I'd stay quiet, but only if she paid me $1,000 a month. I knew my brother made good money as a data analyst, and Chloe's job at a hotel front desk gave her at least something, so together they could definitely afford it. At first, she tried to push back, but I reminded her she had literally offered me anything. I named my price, and it was up to her, either pay me every month, or I'd tell my brother everything. She tried to negotiate, but I stood my ground. Eventually, Chloe gave in and agreed to my terms. At that point, I was already working as an HR rep after finishing college, and while $1,000 a month wasn't something I needed to survive, it definitely made life easier. On top of that, it felt oddly satisfying knowing I was finally getting some payback against my brother and his wife for how awful they'd both been to me. That's how things went for about 6 months, smooth and quiet, until last week, when Marcus decided to show up at my place out of nowhere. I noticed him on the security cameras outside my building, holding a cake like it was my birthday or something. My guess is that he told security it was a surprise delivery, which is how he got in. I didn't trust him one bit, so I refused to open the door. He ended up talking to me from the hallway, and that's when I realized Chloe had spilled the beans about our little arrangement. Marcus was furious. He told me I needed to back off, that I had no right to blackmail Chloe, and warned me that if I ever reached out to her again, I'd regret it. That made my blood boil. I told him to get lost, and he eventually did, but not before reminding me that he could ruin my life if he wanted to. He even left the cake at my door with just one word iced on top, bitch. I can't stand the guy, but I'll admit, he sure knows how to lean into the drama. After that, I hit my breaking point. I was done being threatened, especially when I'd held up my end of the deal. I hadn't told a soul about Chloe's affair, yet she had the nerve to send Marcus to intimidate me. That was the final straw. I tried to call Chloe first, only to realize she'd already blocked me. So instead, I called my brother. Luckily, he picked up, and I told him everything, her cheating, the money, all of it. Then I hung up before he could respond. I went for a short walk to clear my head, but when I came back, my phone was blowing up, over 50 texts and 10 missed calls, most of them from Chloe accusing me of ruining her life. My mom had called too, so I rang her back to figure out what was happening. Turns out, my brother had already been suspicious. Apparently, Chloe had left her phone unlocked a few times, and he'd seen messages from Marcus. They weren't explicit, so he brushed them off, but he had asked her why she was talking to Marcus so much. She told him they were just friends, and he believed her. This time, though, after I exposed her, he confronted Chloe directly. He went through her phone again and realized I was telling the truth. She'd been stringing him along the whole time. Now, he's filing for divorce and completely crushed. And guess who everyone's mad at? Me. My parents are furious that I enabled the affair for 6 months. They told me I need to apologize to my brother and give him the money back, calling it blackmail money. I flat out refuse. To me, it wasn't blackmail at all. Chloe was the one who offered me something in exchange for my silence. Sure, she probably thought it'd be a spa coupon or some hotel perk, but I named my price, and she agreed. That's a deal, not blackmail. I don't owe my brother an apology, and I'm sure as hell not giving him the money. He's the reason I was tormented for 4 years in high school, all because he couldn't handle being embarrassed for one day. If anything, he still owes me. When I told my parents I wasn't backing down, they lost it. They said if I didn't make things right, they'd cut me out of the family completely because I've turned into someone they don't recognize. It's been a week since, and I haven't spoken to them. Every day, they remind me that what I did was messed up, but honestly, I don't see it that way. So yeah, I guess I'm wondering if I'm the asshole for taking money from my sister-in-law to keep quiet about her affair, given everything my brother did to me in the past. Update 1. I ended up taking the advice I got and went to see my family. And honestly, it just confirmed what I already suspected. They're just as toxic as my brother. The truth is, I'm better off without any of them. They've never actually been kind or supportive. Everything they ever did was just for show, to make it look like we were a perfect family. I remember how they stood by silently while I was bullied for years, never defending me, because they didn't want to cause drama. They never held my brother accountable for spreading that rumor either. They brushed it off as sibling rivalry, even though they could see how badly I was suffering. He had one rough day when his girlfriend embarrassed him in the cafeteria, but in retaliation, he ruined 4 years of my life. And still, I forced myself to play nice for my parents' sake, just because I wanted a little affection from them. Even when my brother and I were close as kids, that all changed the second he hit high school. Suddenly, he was too cool to be seen with his dorky little sister. That's when it all started falling apart, and honestly, looking back, my whole family has been nothing but disappointment ever since. My family turned out to be shallow and cruel, and honestly, I'm relieved that I'm finally done with them. They were never going to love me, and they were never going to change. Even with everything that happened, they immediately made me the scapegoat. They didn't care why I did what I did, they only cared that I supposedly ruined my brother's marriage. If they'd ever stepped in when I was younger, if they'd tried to fix things for me or forced my brother to treat me like a decent human being, maybe I wouldn't have gone to such extremes just to get revenge. But they didn't care then, and they don't care now. To them, I'm selfish, heartless, a criminal, and whatever else they want to label me. Meanwhile, my brother, who's pushing 30, is still their golden boy. I was stupid to ever believe my family might show me kindness, and even more foolish for keeping up any kind of relationship with my brother just to avoid upsetting my parents. I should have cut ties completely after moving out for college. But as the saying goes, every cloud has a silver lining. For me, the bright side is watching karma finally catch up to him. After all the pain he caused girls back in high school and college, he's now getting a taste of it himself. The cheater got cheated on, and life has come full circle. I plan on sitting back with my metaphorical popcorn and enjoying the show, because I've earned that much. Plus, it's not like I walked away empty-handed. Chloe's payments covered half my rent for months, and that was a nice perk while it lasted. 2 weeks have passed since my original post, and I don't regret a thing. I want to thank everyone who commented. Reading through the responses helped more than I expected. I sulked, cried, and replayed everything in my head, but eventually, I found the strength to block my entire family on every platform. I also told building security not to let them in, so they can't reach me unless I choose to. As for Chloe and Marcus, they disappeared after the news broke. I don't have any updates on them, and honestly, that feels pretty peaceful. Without my family breathing down my neck, I feel lighter than I have in years. Update 2. I just found out why Chloe's been so quiet. She's pregnant. Things between her and my brother are an absolute mess, and of course, my parents are blaming me. One of my cousins sent me a Facebook post my dad wrote, where he publicly shamed me for ruining my brother's marriage over a petty high school grudge. According to him, it's not my brother's fault for cheating back then, and it's not Chloe's fault for cheating now, it's all mine. He left out every important detail, like the fact that Chloe was the one who offered me a deal in the first place. It wasn't blackmail. I didn't corner her or force her to pay me. She offered, I named a price, and she agreed. But my dad twisted the story completely. My older relatives bought into it right away, sending me texts filled with disappointment and disgust. They've decided I'm the villain, and they expect better from me even though most of them barely know me. They've never been close to me, never cared about my life, and suddenly they're outraged? It's ridiculous. And of course, my dad glossed over how badly I was bullied in high school because of my brother's rumor. He dismissed it as petty when it nearly destroyed me. I was completely on my own during those years, with no support from anyone at home or at school. That pain never just goes away. Now my parents are trying to act like victims, spinning the story so they look innocent and I look evil. I wasn't about to let them control the narrative, so I posted my side of the story. It's only been about 15 minutes, and I haven't had the courage to check my notifications yet, but I know some of my friends and a few family members will stand with me. I just hope the positive voices drown out the hate. Honestly, my family feels like the human version of a migraine, and I can't wait for this drama to finally die down. Update 3. 3 days later, things took another wild turn. After I shared my side, the post blew up, especially among people who went to school with my brother. One woman from his year saw it and exposed him publicly. She read both my story and my dad's, connected the dots, and came forward to share her own experience. About a month ago, while she was in town, my brother hit her up on Instagram. He used a burner account instead of his real profile, where he had photos with Chloe. They went out, hooked up, and he promised to stay in touch, then blocked her the second she left. She only just found out he was married after seeing all of this online. Honestly, it's insane, but not surprising. A cheater's always a cheater. The irony is almost too perfect. My brother married someone who's just like him. Now they're heading into divorce and what looks like a brutal custody battle, since Chloe doesn't even know for sure who the father of her baby is. And me? I've been sitting back, watching it all unfold like a live soap opera. This man was cruel to me as a teenager and left scars I'll carry forever. Now life is throwing his own sins back in his face, and I can't help but enjoy every second of it. Karma finally did its thing, and I don't even have to lift a finger.